Okay, this is my 1917 American Tool Works Cincinnati built lathe it's a geared head lathe. Was line shaft drive at one point in time. It's been converted over. They've put a motor. It's got a 3-horse motor on it right now. I'm going to be running it in my shop on a static phase converter. So I'll be able to run it off of 240 single phase. It is reversible, which is really nice. My other lathes are non-reversibles. Turns really good, moves really freely. Went through oiling process on it. Does quite a wide range of threading. Clean. I gotta use some brasso on that plate there so I can get it where I can read it a lot easier. And most of the badges, there's A and B position, C and D position. I want to see if I can find me a new one or something to go here, but that's feeds and threads, depending on what you want. The gears are in really good condition. I don't know if it'll focus, might be too dark in there. And the handle moves really easily. I gotta clean the chuck up some more. A little rusty, but it's not too bad. I cleaned a lot of the rust off of it, but I run out of anti-rust coating to go on it. And I've got to clean the lead screw. Just cleaning all that up. Cleaned the ways, gave them a good scrape just to get the light rust and everything off of them. Moved all the chips off. Oiled them up with what I had to keep them from rusting, because it is humid this is a partially climate controlled building, but it does get cold, so things will rust in here. First thing I did, I tore down the tailstock. It's not the original tailstock. I think the original got broken, so they made this one so that it would have a tailstock. It's in pretty good shape. Really heavily built, so that should serve me no problem. Gave it a good cleaning, a good primer, and a good paint job. Relubed everything. Polished up what I could. And I do want a bigger handle on it though, because that handle it's small. That handle in here, it's spring loaded, but it's not a positive lock. Like, you can't screw it in to tighten it where it'll stay stuck out like that. So that's a bit of an issue, but I'm gonna see if I can find me a bigger one from something else, or make a bigger one or the other, I don't know. But other than that, it moves really good. Quite smooth, oiled and lubed it real good. And right now I've got the top slide, cross slide off. Top slide's off the cross slide. Cleaning it all up. I scraped these ways down, cleaned them real good. There's a lot of trash down in this gap. Got it all cleaned out. They turned a lot of brass on this machine at one point in time, and it still had all the brass shavings in there. The oiler hole there is, I gotta find me a spring cap oiler to go back in there. I cleaned this up real good. I've got the top sliding pieces soaking to get them cleaned up real good. But I haven't come across too many lathes that have the keyways in the slide casting. It's got them on all 4 corners, and that's the lock. I want to redo the lock because it's not the best thing. I'd rather have one that has a handle so I don't have to use a wrench on it all the time. And I want to get where I can put some wipers on these ends. it doesn't have screw holes or anything, so it never had wipers on it to start with. But I was watching Keith Fenner's video on redoing, looking under the old girl's skirt, him rebuilding that little import lathe that he has, and he went through and showing the materials that he used and repairing the ways and the wipers on his carriage. I got to figure out how to take this carriage off this one, because it's very tight, or sorry, it moves really good, but it it's got a fair amount of play in it. I want to see if I can get it tightened up. That, I don't know why that thing wiggles back and forth the way it does when depending on which direction I turn the handle. I forget which one. It's stuck right now. I don't have something in the right position. I still have to get used to figuring out the controls, but to get the split nut in there disconnected so I can get it off. And I'm either going to find and modify or make had a thread dowel here, and it's missing it. So I want to fix that. I can kind of see that. It has a damaged oiler spot here. I'm going to order a new one. I'm going to order several of these, because there's one there that's damaged. There's one here that's damaged. I've got one that's missing a spring, so it doesn't keep the cap can fall off. But other than that, I mean, it's in pretty darn good shape. But yeah, if anyone knows, I guess this is for putting either, because I know that they would do line boring on here, and they would suspend the tool between centers and have the work mounted here on a plate and use it for boring large cylinders through. I've seen in an old lathe operator's book from 30s, somewhere right around in there, that they had twin cylinder air compressor heads, like what you'd find on a truck, where they're side by side, not V'd off, But they had them, and they had it mounted in here, and they were doing the work. The feed was controlled by this, and they would advance the work across the tool. It's a pretty interesting idea, and especially for something large if you don't have a dedicated boring mill. This did come with this nice large 4-jaw, independent 4-jaw, and it is a Cushman. 1862. I'm not sure if that's a 5U upside down, or if that was supposed to be 50. I'm not sure. I gotta clean it up some more. I need to take that apart, and so I can clear all the junk out of the threads and out of the ways down in here, and get all that cleaned up, de-rusted, lubricated, and put back together. And it's a very large chuck, but it's hollow. It's a hollow back chuck. And then the other chuck I got for this was this one, which I haven't even started on yet. Got a bird and a blue background. I gotta clean it some more, but it looks like it might have some Chinese, so it might be an import. But it's on a oversized back plate. But yeah, got it, and then my little one, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put this in here now that I have the big one in here. This is my small Porter cable machine company called a production lathe. One of the guys at lathe.uk has some paperwork on this thing from, looks like from the 50s, but I think they made these turn of the century because I think they had some that were being run production from line shaft. In one of the pictures, look, they were producing bearings, bronze bearings for, or bushings for artillery wagons. So yeah, it's a pretty old type setup. It was designed for gang tooling and everything, but that was a Craigslist find. This was a Craigslist find. My big drill press over here, I got to make some more parts for it. It's a Craigslist find. It's a Cincinnati, but I can't tell anything other than that, other than the badge says Cincinnati. I don't really know how old it is. It was missing all of its flat belt pulleys, so I'm having to build a pulley system for it, so I have some speeds on it, and I'll mount a motor on there, which I have several motors that I can use. And then of course my big junk holder right now is my big, I think it's a 1940s, 1950s Cincinnati. Number 2 horizontal, which is nice enough that I got the head with it. And that was a Craigslist find out of Jonesboro. I was trying to run this thing with a gas engine sitting over there on the floor because I don't have power in the building right now. Just kind of fiddling around with it. Did make a few chips, but yeah, it's way too loud. But yeah, got this thing moved in here. Looking forward to getting it, and then I've got my an American rotary static phase converter, and I know it derates the power, but for hobby and small job, odd job type stuff, for me, this is going to be more than enough. That's a 3 horse to 8 horse. That's a 3 horse motor. The Cincinnati is 7.5 horse. Of course, they'll both be derated. I'll get 2 horse off that over there. I'll get like 5 point something horse off of this one over here, and I'm just gonna make them plug and play where I can have this mounted on the wall with a big turn plug socket, and then I can just change the cables out until later. Then I might get another one of these to run this machine with. But for now, that's what it is. Still got to do a little bit more work on this. It wasn't mostly just cleaning it up. It's just too cold to do much painting right now. Yeah, well, it is Georgia, so we can't really get the weather to agree with everything. But yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. At least I'm liking it. See y'all guys later.